It's difficult for clients to understand analytics sometimes, especially if we don't give it enough context. And I want to talk about how ideally analytics is presented to clients. Specifically, what do those things mean? So it's great to, start at the top. If there's one number that your client cares about, like, I don't know, leads. Oh, I want trail. Yeah, there we go. So let's say we have leads, right? So that's one thing your client cares about. Well, what contributes to leads? So, it's great to tie everything to the high level things and don't get too obscure too fast because that'll confuse them. They won't see they'll they'll lose track of how the analytics you're talking about tracks back to that high number. So, you have your goal, then you have, maybe several KPIs, and those KPIs all track to the goal. Then you have things that, down here, like, page views, and they track to the KPI. If you get too low too fast, if you start talking down here and they're still trying to figure this out, then obviously that's going to be a problem. The next thing you want to do is you want to present suggestions. So this is what this is about. This whole thing is the missing piece in a lot of analytics is the suggestions. So let's say you're like, okay, well, we have suggestions 1, 2, 3. This is page 1, page 2, and page 3 of the document, let's say, that you're sending to your client, weekly, monthly, whatever, that'll help them. Also, maybe you're meeting with them. That's great. Meet with them, talk with them. But one of the things that we have are, we write suggestions, but we don't always have, we don't always tell people what that means. We don't always tell our clients, what does it mean to follow these suggestions? And one of the things they're really going to want to know is, all right, that's great. How much is it going to cost? And some clients don't want to ask that because they don't want to seem like cheapskates, even though that's really what they want to know. The other thing is, who are you saying should do this? You're making this suggestion. And a lot of times, at Resound, we're like, well, we don't want to we're not trying to sell you. We're just trying to tell you what you can do. So a lot of times agencies or freelancers, we're like, well, here's what you should do, right? We tell them what they should do. And instead of telling them what they should do, oops, that's the wrong thing. We tell them what they should do, but instead of telling them who should do it, we're just like, you guys should do this. What does that mean? Does that mean they're going to do it, or does that mean we're going to do it? Which person does it? Is it us or is it them? And a lot of times they want you to do it, and they'll even pay you for it. You just need to know, what, how to tell them that so they can understand. How long does it take? How long is it going to take to do this? How many weeks, days, whatever. That's helpful for them to know so they can ask you about it in progress. But one of the biggest things, though, and this is the biggest thing, a lot of times we're like, yeah, you should optimize these pages. And they're left thinking, well, how's that going to matter? Yeah, sure, I can do that. That's best practice. But there's a lot of stuff you can do with your budget. And what is really important is that this is the next most important thing to do with your budget. So, all right, take a step back. You're a client and you're trying to figure out what to do with your budget, and someone's telling you, oh, you need to optimize your pages, or you need to fix all these SEO issues, these errors that are on your page. You're like, okay, well, I have 10 things that are on my priority list. Now you want to add another one, and I don't even know for sure what it's going to do. Sure, it's best practice. I understand that. I know it would be better to have a clean site, clean, minified CSS and, no broken links and all this other stuff. I know that'd be great. But is that really the next thing I need to be spending my money on? And so to give them context, you want to say, what do we hope it does for you? Now, I know you can't guarantee that. You can't guarantee it. But what we need to know, what the client needs to know is, why are we suggesting it for them to do? And then, what is it going to do? First of all, what is it going to do? It breaks down into two things. What is it going to do? Oh, it's going to improve your SEO, right? It's going to make you you know, this is the kind of thing you do to get higher in the search engines. But they need someone with experience to tell them, well, how much of this will we have to do, and how much of an increase in search engine traffic should we expect? Now, you can't guarantee this either. And a lot of people are so unimaginative, and I'm calling you out, that they would say, oh, I can't guarantee that. I don't know, right? Like, I don't know. Well, guess what? That's your job. It's your job to tell people, to help them understand what they're getting out of this. They don't know. They're not SEO specialists. They're not, the clients don't know this stuff. They're not in the weeds like we are. So here's what you have to do. You're going to love this. You have to guess, right? But the thing is that you can give a range. You don't have to say, you can say it's going to be this number to this number, we think, right? But, and you don't have to give a guarantee. But the whole point is you have to give them some kind of like, what are you talking about? So if they trust you, right, that's great. But if you're not giving them any information, if you're not giving them your gut feeling, that's what they want to know. If you have a plumber come out to your house and you're like, hey, I'm constantly getting broken pipes. What do you think the problem is? They might say like, well, it could be, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this other thing. You're probably going to ask them, well, what do you think it's most likely? And they're like, well, it's most likely this, but this one's the cheapest to check. So let's check that one first. And you're like, thank you, right? Because you wanted to know that. You don't know it. You want to know their gut feeling. They're not promising anything. All they're saying is, hey, I think it's probably this thing, but this is more expensive. So let's try this other thing first because that might be the thing. Do you want to do that? And you're like, yeah, let's do that. Let's go in that order. And so that's what they want from you. You're the analytics person. You can't just be like, oh, I don't know, And I've known developers who do that, and it's annoying as heck because it's like, look, I'm not asking you for a promise. I'm asking you for your gut feeling because you're the one who is closer to this than I am. And so do that. Don't leave people frustrated. Answer these questions. And then we have one more little thing here. It's good if your client is doing paid ads, even if that's not the main focus. It doesn't hurt to have one of these that focuses on the paid ads. And so you can keep that moving. We have clients who occasionally will write up the SOW to include paid ads. But then when it's time to run the paid ads, there's like setup problems, or the client can't get in one case, the credit card, And so it was a great idea, to run, to run ads. But, ultimately it's like, that's supposed to be an S. Not very good. But ultimately they can't actually swing it. So it's good for us to just keep reminding them, since they're paying for it, hey, we're willing to do this, and keep making the case for it. Right. All right. Well, that wraps it up. Hope this gives you guys an idea of, how do we make these things more relevant to the client? If you're a client, what to ask for from people doing analytics for you, how to ask for that information in a way that helps you, actually is helpful and is not just data, because we want to get away from data, and we just want to give really actionable, valuable information that people can really use. So